Judge Lauren Lake attacked on paternity court.
So I didn't want my son to grow up and not know who his father is.
So if we're talking about that, so yes, I did.
Wait, which hotel time is more than one hotel? You seem to be stepping up to the plate so much and telling Miss Fahey I'm the father. Came to the hospital, going into court, give them my name.
Miss Nash was here for her baby Zion, as she was sick of running a one-woman show and wanted the defendant to rise to the occasion. Mr. Brewer claimed he suspected another to be her guy and was here to prove that.
So that he will finally step up, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brewer, you testify that you saw another man going in and out of the plaintiff's home at the time of conception. You claim there's no way you fathered her daughter and refused to support another man's child. Is that correct?
The baby mama had indeed been a full-time mommy to her child, while the baby daddy kept pulling a no-show, and the fact that they were neighbors didn't help much either. However, soon it was revealed that she wasn't 100% positive. She was honest, I have to give her that.
So what is that like, having to care for a newborn alone with no help?
It's absolutely horrible. The fact that he stays 2 doors down, I think that's what really just tears me up. I never can.
But if you not sure she's mine, why should I?
We had sex, Josh.
Yeah, we did.
It's a possibility.
Ms. Nash went all in with honesty as the best policy. Good for her. These guys lived in the same building, and soon the fun began. But before that, baby daddy turned into Mr. Fix-It by the baby mama, and he didn't seem happy about that.
So take me back. How did this sexual relationship begin?
So for the most part, like I said, we are neighbors. When I ended up needing help in my apartment,
She turned me into Mr. Fix-It.
You asked him to come over to your apartment and fix the stove.
Yes, ma'am.
And then things really heated up.
It was time to spill the pregnancy news bombshell. According to the baby mama, she immediately took the guy on board with this news and he wanted a test. But he also asked something else first that he didn't seem to recall just then.
She sat on the couch, I'm pregnant. I immediately told her, we need a DNA test.
Yes, I told him this is a blessing. I would never get rid of my child. When my baby is crying, when I have issues with her, period, I can't call him or get help from him.
Next up, we got to see the baby daddy present an exhibit. Now, this was supposed to back up his claim that other people were involved with the baby mama as well. The guy trusted his assumptions and intuition a bit too much. Needless to say, Judge Lake wasn't too thrilled about it.
So, Mr. Brewer, you are convinced Ms. Nash was sleeping with other men during this time?
I've seen her walk in her apartment with another man.
Okay. I've seen you walk into your apartment with men and women. I'm not assuming that you're having sex with either one of them.
She's coming in with another man. He got her like this.
You should have said, hey.
Well, I spoke to both of y'all.
You should have said, hey. I don't remember.
You said what's up,
back.
he said what's up. I'm looking at them, they finna get dirty. I'm already knowing.
Moving on, the other guy was also made aware of the new development according to Ms. Nash, but she trusted her calculations more, and now they are here. Amidst all this, Mr. Brewer looked like he wanted to be anywhere other than the court, so a crash course in reality came right up for him.
Cause you real macho. You got all the man moves. You ain't got time. You on your time schedule. It would have taken less time for you to go to the store and get a condom than it did for you to fly here and appear in paternity court. But these are the life lessons we learn.
Yes, it is.
But we don't disrespect children.
The baby mama was asked to break down her calculations, and she came prepared. Oh, she had a chart outlining everything that contributed to the said percentage, but that thoroughly underwhelmed the judge.
How do you arrive at that percentage?
I arrived there simply because they have the same features. Just honestly, she doesn't really have any of my features like that.
So after this evidence, Jerome, I don't even think we need the results. She got a round head, a receding hairline, and sleeps with her mouth open. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
Well, baby mama was working her way down the paternity mess. Judge Lake understood where she was coming from regarding the calculation. Still, that wasn't enough, and that certainly didn't let the other guy off the hook.
So have y'all took a DNA test?
No, because as I stated in the beginning, we're gonna start at the top and we'll work our way down.
Oh, okay.
And then we were waiting for you to do the DNA test, you know?
He was waiting too?
No, baby. Me and my baby, we were waiting, okay?
Time to see whether all these calculations, intuitions, and assumptions made sense in the end or not. The only way to prove that is to unveil the truth held by the DNA results in the envelope. Here we go.
Mr. Brewer, you are the father.
I apologize.
This baby mama was absolutely sure that the defendant was her baby daddy. However, the defendant, along with his aunt, claimed otherwise and stated there were other players in the game as well, left conveniently out by Ms. McKeever.
McKeever, you say you have no doubt that Mr. Arnold is your 3-year-old son Kenneth's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you're the one who's been put on child support for a boy who's definitely not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Arnold was named father by default. Apparently, the poor fella couldn't find a ride when he was called for the paternity test. So many baby daddies have ridden the same wave here that Judge Lake just snapped at this defendant's recklessness.
It's not my child, so why should I pay anything? I got put on child support because of not showing up to a DNA test.
Well, I couldn't get there. I didn't have no ride. I didn't have those. We get a ride to go everywhere else we want to go.
Ms. McKeever's sister came along with her to court. Now she was the one who was currently playing the role of father in baby Kenneth's life. She provided for him, but the baby daddy's aunt was still stuck on the other players. She was positive there were others, yet she didn't know them.
Paying for expenses.
Haircuts, shoes, clothes, milk, anything that little boy needs. If she calls me, he have it, you know.
With the understanding that
there was another young man involved who was supposed to be these kids' dad.
I'm asking a question. Who is this young man? Do you know?
I don't know him personally.
Who is?
Well, there was another guy indeed. The conception calendar played its part in backing up the claim of the baby mama. She sued Mr. Arnold for child support, yet the window of conception told an entirely different story.
Pretty much you were with Mr. Arnold, having sex with him unprotected, you said, and you say you were intimate with the other guy.
December 26th.
December 26th, you were intimate with the other guy.
Oh, the drama of this case. It made me question everything. The auntie, on the other hand, was full of revelations, and she couldn't help but wish that her nephew wasn't the father in the judge's head. Something definitely didn't add up.
The other guy that I was intimate with, he decided to get the DNA test. It was not my decision, it was his. So they contacted me and they sent me a paper in the mail. I had a DNA test done. When I had a DNA test done and the DNA test came back, it said 0%.
The other guy came and left the equation just like that. And bam, back to Mr. Arnold being the baby daddy. Ms. McKeever had a new GH of the baby daddy's family, and she snapped in the middle of the court. She gave them an earful for sure.
He's lying on that part. The time that we was in a relationship, he knew about the other guy. So it's not like I just got with Mr. Arnold and didn't tell him about this other guy. His family cannot sit here and tell him that this is not his child because y'all was not in the bedroom with us when we did what we did. And y'all was not living with me.
Next up, we got to see baby daddy accepting he did indeed initially have a connection with the baby, but soon started singing another tune. The plaintiff's dam finally broke as she gave a reality check to the guy and his family.
And worry about your kids. Because at the end of the day, me and you are gonna be taking care of those kids, not your family, not nobody else. I had no father at all. Period, at all.
So I didn't want my son to grow up and not know who his father is.
Well, Ms. McKeever and the defendant's aunt weren't done locking horns with each other. Oh no, their fiery feud kept going until the judge stepped in. Now she gave a needed wake-up call to Mr. Arnold in the midst of all this paternity chaos.
What would you like to add, Mr. Arnold?
I can go to jail for a child that ain't even mine.
Don't you ever let anybody control your fate, your life, and your destiny, and you facing consequences that only you are responsible for alone.
The paternity court believed in concrete evidence, and that was the DNA result. That's what ruled here. The plaintiff and the defendant's narratives were just adding to the mess, and baby Kenneth faded into the background. Let's put him back in the spotlight, shall we?
Mr. Arnold, you are his father.
Step up, baby.
Your Honor, I will step up to the plate. I want to be around all my kids.
That's what I want to hear, young man. You're not a bad guy. You listening to the wrong people.
Thanks.
Mr. Maxson wasted no time in accusing the defendant of being a master at pinning babies on guys. Yep, but the defendant wasn't having that, not at all. She stood her ground and claimed baby daddy needed to step up to his responsibilities.
Mr. Maxson, you testify that you had to open your case today because the defendant is doing what she does best, pinning babies on innocent men.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Gearing, You say you are certain that Mr. Maxon is your daughter's biological father.
Well, Mr. Gearing claimed to have no news of any baby until the baby mama contacted his mother. Unsuspecting guy for real. However, that wasn't the version Miss Gearing came up with. According to her, it went down like this.
Oh, so immediately upon hearing, you said, hold on, I need a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor.
I contacted Trinard and I told him I was pregnant. He said he wanted to come back. I did contact his mom after I had the baby. And when I heard from her, she was like, yeah, that's my grandbaby.
Plaintiff's mommy wasn't too happy with what was being said about her. Nope. She clapped back, and pretty soon, it was these guys who were talking all over each other. Poor Judge Lake couldn't even get a word in except telling them to hold on.
Jasmine contacted me and she said, I'm pregnant by your son. This was before she even had the baby.
Ms. Gearing testified that you said that's my grandbaby.
No, I never told her that.
Apparently, these guys went way back, so much so that they used to live on the same street. Now they were just throwing shade at each other, left and right. But at some point, these guys did get intimate, and the consequences of those questions brought them here now.
I went back to Mississippi with my grandmother, and I did contact him first on Facebook. Yes, we been knew each other when we was younger, stayed on the same street.
Talked or...
But at some point, you obviously were intimate or we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, when she contacted me on Facebook.
Now what brought them together? It was none other than trusty old Facebook. Yep, Miss Gearing took the first step, and then the grandma's house became a fun house for them. Don't believe us? Hear for yourself then.
Wait, hold on. One thing led to another at your grandmother's house?
Yes.
With no protection?
No protection.
Your Honor, she was still involved because she told me this out of her own mouth. She was still involved with another guy.
How did you know she was still with her ex?
She told me.
It was all fun and games then. But according to Baby Daddy, caution was not thrown to the wind entirely, and that's what made him so sure of not being the father. Prepare yourselves to be cringed at the max level, people. Don't say I didn't warn you.
So it is your testimony that you always used protection
Yes, Your Honor.
with Ms. Gearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Never once
Never once.
did the condom break?
Never.
Did you not use one?
Never.
And Ms. Gearing, you're saying that that is a complete
We
lie.
never used protection. Honestly, from the first day, we never used protection.
Next up, Mrs. Maxon came up with the argument that if the baby doesn't have asthma, she isn't theirs. And that obviously didn't sit well with the baby mama. Soon they were at each other's throats, and the judge had to bring some order eventually.
Trinard has had asthma and his other kids do too. So all of a sudden, he got this one kid that don't have no resemblance and no asthma.
No resemblance. Only thing I want him to do, you can buy your daughter some clothes and some shoes
Well,
and
you
give
asked
it to
me
her.
for my-
You wrong.
Ladies, let's get some more.
Finally, some evidence was brought forth to factor into all this chaotic mess. Miss Gearing submitted text messages. She wanted the baby daddy to check up on his daughter, and this dude had the audacity to reply 2 months later, and that too for something else.
Months later on March 14th and says, I need a favor. You write, really? You don't call and even check on your daughter? And Mr. Maxon writes, can I get a favor or not? It's a simple yes or no. What was the favor?
3 years passed since baby Alana was born, and Mr. Maxon had no bond with her. The uncertainty of paternity held him back from the potential daughter. All these guys did was constant bickering. Judge Lake had to bring them back to the real matter at hand.
So have you spent any time with her?
No.
He seen my baby one time.
What?
And she was like 5 or 6 months. I was at my
Yeah,
aunt's
through a
house.
picture?
His mom came and picked my baby up. Her and her daughter came and picked my baby up.
I did not pick your baby up, Jasmine.
At the end of the day, I'm not gonna be made out of a fool to claim something that's not mine.
She is not something. She's a child. Get it right.
It's about time the defendant got real about what the absence of a father in their equation was causing to the little girl. These guys were thinking about themselves, but the real sufferer was the child. And who better to school them on than the judge as the baby daddy started ranting again?
He is denying her. He don't want to be in her life because she still wouldn't understand.
Even when they don't quite understand it, what we've learned through helping hundreds and hundreds of families, that it'll be another child that just will say, you know, that's not your daddy, that's my daddy.
Whether Mr. Maxon was the baby daddy or not, the real answer was sealed in the envelope. If it was left up to these guys, they would have been here all day long. But it was time to unveil the truth once and for all.
Mr. Maxon, you are the father. That's your little girl, Mr. Maxon.
just glad to know the truth.
The plaintiff here fired the shots immediately when he labeled the baby mama a serial cheater. However, the defendant stood her ground and claimed she was pretty positive he was the one who fathered baby Quadir.
Mr. Moody, you say Ms. Vaughn, who is 16 years your junior, is a serial cheater who can't be trusted. You admit you have been unfaithful, but say you are certain Mr. Moody is Qadir's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Seems to me that Mr. Vaughn was just waiting to state his case. It was a testimony with his inner commentary rolled into one. Oh yes, he claimed he gave the woman choices and he stood by them, but faced disappointment in the end.
When I first met Miss Vaughn, I asked her 3 questions. Do you want a relationship? Do you want to just have sex? Or you just want to be friends? What she told me was she wanted a relationship. You on the corner find out I done got on her nerves so much about that, till she just admitted, was like, okay, it's a possibility that our oldest son might not be yours.
After that revelation, baby daddy was now swarmed with paternity doubt. Baby mama accepted her infidelity, and that led these guys to get a paternity test for their oldest kid, and the test came up with this result.
So, Ms. Vaughn, you admit there were other men you were having sex with during the time you were also having sex with Mr. Moody?
Yes, Your Honor.
By her admitting it, you know I got to take the DNA test. And we went and took a DNA test. Come to find out, the child was mine.
Apparently, that wasn't the end of it just yet. Not at all. The warning sign kept happening, and they kept pricking the baby daddy. And so Mr. Moody enlightened the court how all that played out in their life that led them here now. Guess he was here to rant, and so he did.
Before I seen that grass and all that stuff in the car, I went to Alpha. I said, babe, what you had in the car? Oh, I ain't had nobody in the car. Well, you working ain't nothing but concrete. If you step in grass, you got at least about 50 to 100 feet. And I know good and well you ain't did that in the car parked right there in the front.
One moment these guys were in the car, and the next they were in the hotel. Yeah, and the judge had a hard time grasping that as well. The infamous hotel story finally got narrated when the baby daddy was done with 3 after the facts. You better see for yourselves. The baby daddy was persistent that the pattern was being repeated, just like during the first pregnancy, and he wasn't going to be made a fool out of twice. Nope. But on the other hand, Ms. Vaughn claimed she was faithful this time around.
At that time, Your Honor, no, I was not cheating.
You weren't?
No. Point in time that we was at a hotel and we were struggling. But the point in time he's talking about is around the time I was cheating. Yes, I did have oral sex. Yes, I told him. I told him the truth.
So, still, after that came out, a lot of most stuff still didn't come out.
Well, whatever the mama said, the plaintiff denied it outright. Moreover, he revealed he had results of a lie detector test that backed up his claim, and the theatrics with which he narrated the entire process was a must-watch. Woo! Let's go.
I told her, you take this lie detector test, and if you pass this lie detector test, I'll marry you that same day and get you a ring that following week. I tell her over and over again, whatever you have to tell me now. No matter if you slept with 50 men or had oral sex with 50 men, tell me, and on everything I love, I will not go nowhere.
Next up, the judge reviews the results of the lie detector test. Apparently, the baby mama failed that test twice. Now, that definitely wasn't a good look on her. There were 3 questions in the test, and oh, Ms. Vaughn failed every single one of those. Ouch.
The lie detector determined you were being deceptive, and you failed that question as well.
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Why are you emotional right now? What are you feeling?
Because I'm not the same person I was. Everybody makes mistakes. I did make mistakes. I did lie. I was a compulsive liar.
The baby mama accepted that truth. Gotta give that to her at least. Finally, she stated her mind that she had a different mindset then, but now it's evolved, and she seemed ready to make the changes necessary for that to happen.
My mindset is different. The way I think is different. I became a grown woman. So yes, I made a mistake. I agree.
Other than a DNA test, he's gonna have doubt.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
And that doubt now is reflected on your son. That has to hurt you as a mother as well.
It does, Your Honor.
All this paternity chaos really took a toll on their relationship, but even more on the relationship between a son and a father. Mr. Moody wanted to be the father the child deserved. The doubt kept nagging him and held him back. He was sure the results would surprise him too.
So this is the way it is at home now. You can't believe nothing she said.
This how it is, y'all.
Have you thought about if he isn't your biological
Yes,
son?
I have. I'm gone.
You say you're done
Yes.
if he's not your biological child.
Yes, because we've been going through this for 6 years, y'all.
Baby Quadir deserved a father, and the only obstacle in his way was the paternity doubt. Mr. Moody was here for answers, and Judge Lake had those for him. Let's see whether Ms. Vaughn really was full of surprises or not.
Mr. Moody, you are the father.
Hello. Thank you. No.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, it made me feel a whole lot better, Your Honor. Thank
I can see that. I can see that. And I'm happy.
Mr. Bonner was behind child support and brought the defendant to court to prove he wasn't the father and to wash his hands off the woman once and for all. However, Ms. Fahey claimed the guy had a change of heart mid-pregnancy.
Now, you say you're here today to establish paternity, so you'll either be allowed to take part in your daughter's life or sever your connection to Ms. Fahey.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Fahey, you argue that your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Bonner, is indeed the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Neveja.
Well, the plaintiff opened his testimony with a startling question. He claimed he wasn't the father on the basis of the complexion of the kid, but the baby mama kept maintaining that genetics work in mysterious ways as she presented pictures of her and her mother.
My daughter does have a little bit of color to her. My mother, she has color to her. So that does not mean nothing. I was a dark child. Well, my mother was she was kind of dark skin complected. She had the dark hair, the dark skin.
A beautiful olive complexion.
Yes, and genetics works in a mysterious way. My dad was real dark.
If the mommy can present pictures, then why not the daddy? Mr. Bonner showed pictures of his children to back up his claim he wasn't the father. Moreover, the baby daddy initially took the news of pregnancy rather happily, but that didn't remain the case later on.
My ex-wife is half white, half black. My son came out with blonde hair, blue eyes.
So what you're saying to the court is that in the past your genes have shown up very strong in your kids.
Correct.
It didn't happen in this case, and that fuels your doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
By the looks of it, baby daddy did come to the hospital and wanted to sign the certificate. Now brace yourselves for some twists and turns about these guys and their revelations. Ms. Fahey appeared quite hurt by the plaintiff's behavior, though.
He wanted
Well,
to
you
sign
shouldn't be marrying
the
illegal
birth
immigrants.
certificate.
Wait now, you were married.
He was married also as well.
Oh, at the hospital when the baby was born?
He came the second day, Your Honor. I have a picture of him kissing my daughter. If you so much did not think that my daughter was yours, why was you kissing her?
Oh, these guys opened up a can of worms. Apparently, there were quite a lot of underlying issues in their past. But before they went off on the tangent, the judge brought them back to the present issue of paternity. The baby daddy was given a choice by the mama, though.
In every which way possible.
You was getting high with me when you were pregnant, too.
No, that's a lie.
You say he accepted you. He was there for you. Then he decides at 7 months, he says he went down the wrong path, made the decision. But then when you had the baby, he comes back and he accepts the baby.
It seemed poor mommy went through a lot with this guy. However, he did end up raising an important question. Guess the real thing that was bugging the baby daddy was the child support. Well, he made his bed. He had to lie in it.
You told me.
I'm in miserable pain, too. I'm $7,000 behind child support.
here to help you with your daughter.
Hold up.
Because I had to walk to the hospital. You left me in pain.
Take a bus.
You left me in pain. Yeah, take a bus.
Did she ask you this, Mr. Bonner?
Yeah, I said I'll be the father of the baby.
Apparently, there were still few revelations left to be unveiled. Baby mama was harassed by the dude's girlfriend, it seemed, and she had enough of that. And all this while, the baby daddy kept singing the same song. Well, judge gave him a piece of her mind eventually.
Now, my daughter is 3 years old, and she knows Brock is daddy.
As far as I'm concerned, I pretty much have the same question. However, you seem to be stepping up to the plate so much and telling Miss Fahey I'm the father. Came to the hospital. You know, going into court, give them my name.
Clearly, there was a lot to unpack in this case. I could hardly keep up with them and their testimonies. Kudos to the judge for hearing all that. According to Mrs. Fahey, the new girlfriend was the real obstacle, and this led the guy to a rant about how he straightened his life up.
I said, Brock, I'll pay for that DNA test. You said you would be there.
I did say that.
Now you don't want to be here. Why? Because he had a girlfriend. Every time things get on a rough scale or whatever, you get a little girlfriend, then it's not your baby.
Well, the court commends you.
And if this child's mine, I owe that child apology. I owe you apology.
The baby mama had a lot in her heart, and everything kept pouring out. It was clear she wanted this guy to be the baby daddy and step up, but Mr. Bonner wasn't hearing any of this. Too much drama indeed.
You accepted my daughter. You told me to put your name on the paperwork for the courts. I did what you told me, but now they won't let me do a DNA because you told me to do this.
So, Miss Fahey, your point is that you've forgiven him. You take him back because you really wanted him to be the father that he claimed he wanted it to be.
Yes, Your Honor.
In a last-ditch effort, the plaintiff brought up a witness who backed him up on him, straightening his life. But the baby mama was still on the outs for not letting him take his daughter for the weekend if the test came out positive.
I pretty much raised him. He's like a little brother to me. And I know he would step up to the plate to be a good father to this little girl. He's always wanted a little girl. I know when he was doing drugs, he would disappear for 3 or 4 months, wouldn't hear from me, but he'd always call me, "Hey, Aunt Ginger, what you up to?" You know, just check in with me.
It was time to turn that 50/50ths into 100 or 0%. Baby Nevia's fate was on the line here, and they were all here for her. Let us see what the DNA results reveal and what was in store for the little girl.
Mr. Bonner, you are not her father.
I'm sorry.
Told you, man. See,
I'm sorry.
Miss Fahey, you know who her father is, the other possible gentleman, or is there someone else?
No, there's only two. There's only Brock and one other person. I'm 100% sure on that. He knew that too.
Does he have any inkling that she could be his?
He does.